No bus for us, we've lined up Ross Holder from Tours by Locals to be our guide for the day. I just received a text from Ross. He asked us to meet him at Brewers Fair.
Yeah, we'll make it work. So I had Rosslyn Chapel booked.
Our first stop is the Three Bridges. This is a bit of a tongue twister. Edinburgh is bordered on the north by the Firth of Forth, the tidal estuary of the River Forth, which flows into the North Sea. The Three Bridges stand side by side, contrasting design and construction materials. The Forth Bridge opened in 1890. It is used by rail. The Forth Road Bridge is a suspension bridge. It opened in 1964. It is used by buses, taxis, pedestrians, and cyclists. In 2017, the Queen's Ferry Crossing opened. It is used for cars, vans, motorcycles as the third bridge carrying and connecting Edinburgh to Fife. Our next stop was the picturesque Dean Village. The village was once known as Miller's Village, since the water of Leith flows through the middle of Dean Village, powering the mills during days gone by. Ross drove us to the top of Calton Hill to take in panoramic views of Edinburgh's skyline. Calton Hill's monuments represent 19th century attempts to make Edinburgh the Athens of the North. To this day, the hill serves as a testament of Edinburgh's aspirations for cultural, scientific, and architectural prominence. The neoclassical structures include the National Monument, the City Observatory, the Nelson Monument, and the Dugald Stewart Monument. The most famous monument is the National Monument, which was designed as a replica of the Parthenon in Athens. It was intended to commemorate the Scottish servicemen who died in the Napoleonic Wars, but was never completed, leaving just the 12 columns that are seen today. For this reason, it is sometimes called Edinburgh's Shame. Ross parked the van just outside the Grass Market. We walked beneath the imposing castle, sited on a steep rock mound above the city. We entered the Grass Market and followed along to the Royal Mile. Where the last public hanging took place. Right there. The Last Drop Pub takes its name from the tradition of allowing the accused to enjoy a last pint of beer or a shot of whiskey before going to the hanging grounds. We enjoyed a festive atmosphere as we continued along the Royal Mile, making our way toward the castle. We could only imagine how Edinburgh would feel during the summer months when the festivals were running, including the military tattoo. We rub the toes of David Hume for enlightenment and good luck. St. Giles Cathedral dates back to 1124, but we all recall the role it played in Queen Elizabeth's recent funeral. The Grass Market was the site of many public executions from the 16th to the 18th centuries. 3 brass plaques on the pavement mark the location of the gallows. A plaque on the wall of the building on the Lawn Market confirms the site. The National Museum of Scotland receives over 2 million visitors a year, making it one of Scotland's most popular tourist attractions. We took part in the tradition of rubbing the terrier's nose for good luck. Greyfriars Bobby was a Skye Terrier who became known in the 19th century for spending 14 years guarding the grave of his owner until he died on January 14, 1872. The story continues to be well known in Scotland through several books and films. Our next stop was the Craigmillar Castle. Craigmillar is often referred to as Edinburgh's other castle. The castle is best known for its association with Mary, Queen of Scots, and an intriguing story. Following an illness after the birth of her son, the future James VI, Mary arrived at Craigmillar in November 1566 to convalesce. Before she left in December, her loyal nobles hatched a scheme known as the Craigmillar Bond. With or without her knowledge, they plotted to dispose of her husband, Henry Stuart, Lord Darnley.
A building is just a building until it becomes part of a story, and the story becomes part of a legend. That's what happened to Rosslyn Chapel, located just 7 miles southeast of Edinburgh, Scotland. The chapel was founded in 1446 by Sir William Sinclair as a Roman Catholic collegiate church, meaning it was self-governing, with financial support coming from the Sinclair family. What really made Rosslyn Chapel famous was the 2003 publication of Dan Brown's best-selling mystery novel, The Da Vinci Code. This was followed by the huge box office success of the movie version in 2006 starring Tom Hanks. Rosslyn Chapel now welcomes about 140,000 visitors each year. Indoor photography is not permitted, but published images and outdoor photography give you an idea of the intricate masonry and carving that first made it famous. The chapel we see today took about 40 years to complete, but it's less than half the size that was planned by Sir William. He died in 1484, and his heirs apparently decided it was big enough. A little over 100 years after the chapel was completed, the Protestant Reformation swept over Scotland. The Sinclairs were warned to close the chapel or risk losing their land and possibly their lives. They complied. The chapel sat abandoned and neglected for almost 150 years. The legend that attracted Dan Brown was the possible link between the chapel and a religious order of warrior knights called the Knights Templar. They provided protection to pilgrims who flocked to the Holy Land after the Crusades. In the process, they became very rich and very powerful. Many believe the Templars became Masons and created the Order of Freemasonry, and that the Masons who built Rosslyn Chapel did so with the idea of making it a sacred place to house the Grail and other sacred objects. Is that real history or just a good story? Whatever people believe, it's bringing them back to Rosslyn.
Thank you, Ross Holder, for a great day in Edinburgh.